Well, and just like that, our Model A is now in two pieces. Yep, we've got the body completely off, as you see right there. And this is what she looks like now. I guess we have definitely committed to building a Huckster at this juncture. Super excited. Well, friends, there she goes. That's what's left of the Model A body. It's going about an hour from here, and the guy plans on building a car. So the body's going to live on. Okay, so what we've done is we've created a plywood template, and it runs the entire length of the proposed body. So it is exactly 8 feet long from this point all the way to the front of the cowl. Now, I really wanted to try to incorporate the original bumpers, the chrome rear bumpers, and kind of have them off here. You can kind of see that the bumper is going to be too far inside of this juncture, and looking at ways of, you know, cutting this and welding an extension in here. But I also needed to kind of try to fit it around the bracket, and my biggest concern was that this spot right here, which is where the 2x10 is going to fit, is only 3 inches wide. Now, obviously, this is just a template, and if I got it a little bit closer to the bracket, it would be about 3 3/4 of an inch. But I'm kind of thinking that that's still too thin to have all this other weight sitting on the back end. And so, as much as I'd like to try to incorporate the rear bumpers, I'm not going to be able to use the existing bracket. Now, what I might be able to do is weld them on here. I'm not yet sure if I'm going to do that, but this is one of the reasons why I actually created this template. The other reason too is that I needed 3/4 of an inch. We're going to kind of do the bed a little bit inlaid, and so that it doesn't run all the way even, kind of have a little bit of a step side, if you will. So we needed 3/4 of an inch space to use coupe fenders, or the pickup truck fenders. And so that's what we are kind of contemplating on doing right here. But as we can see now, that we just need to use the 2x10, try to figure out something else if we can incorporate the rear bumpers. Also got the modern shocks here, because they're actually, the top bracket goes right here. And so when we take this off, we'll put the top bracket in and get that done and out of the way. Okay, so as we kind of walk around the vehicle, I'll kind of show you what I've done here. So these are kind of templates, if you will, plywood templates of where the structure is going to be widthwise as well as lengthwise. Now, as we walk around, I got this little cutout here because initially I was trying to figure out how to incorporate the rear bumpers, but as you see, we got 3 inches here, and that, I think, is just not going to make it structurally sound. So hence the reason why this over here doesn't have the cutout, but it still gives me the overall length. And this line here that I put in would shorten it by 1 foot. Now, one of the concerns that I have is from this point here all the way to the end, we're looking at a 3-foot overhang. Now, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of Hucksters that are out there that probably have that overhang. what concerns me is, even though this, according to the plans, this is supposed to be a true dimensional 2 by 10 that's supposed to sit here, that's 3 feet of overhang. That's a lot of weight, and over time, I'm concerned about, you know, bowing. Where this starts bowing down, and if that starts bowing down, it just changes everything there is structurally about this build. Now, I don't think that's a problem, and every Huckster that I've seen, I haven't seen that or heard about on any of the forums that being a problem. But it's still a concern of mine, and I think it's justifiable. And so you can see that overhang, and if you look closely, you can see the line right there if I decided I wanted to shorten it. And I thought about shortening it, but boy, that really does make kind of a tiny bed. And remember, we're going to be putting a back seat in here, and that's going to be a little different. So I think we're going to go ahead and move forward with the overhang the way it is, and I don't think we're going to weld an extension onto the frame. I'm still contemplating that. What I am going to do with the spare tire, and you can see in this space right here, we're going to actually have the spare tire mounted up underneath and kind of have one of those cranky do wiggy jiggies, and that will hide the spare. But again, my concern is that's extra weight that's pushing down here. So we'll see if that actually I end up doing that or not, but that's kind of the plan. So we're going to go ahead and just start kind of degreasing everything and try to clean it up a little bit, and we're going to do that next. Alrighty, so we've given it a good pressure wash. We've got it cleaned up pretty good. I'm actually really impressed with how well this actually cleaned up, and we've got it back in the garage, just letting it dry off. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was thinking about actually welding an extension on here. These two holes that you see here, now this is where the original bumper attached to. It attached to here, and it attached to this hole right there. Now, or actually, it might have attached to this hole. Either way, it doesn't matter. I ran into another snag, and one of many. And so I thought about, you know, possibly welding kind of like a frame extension, if you will, coming out about another 32 inches. But this is where our modern shocks are actually going to bolt to. They're going to kind of come down here to this bracket. There's a bracket that's attaches back here for the Ken Davis shocks. Now, I'm a little concerned. One, obviously the shock is going to stick up a little bit right here, but it might not clear our frame extension if we weld it. So we're definitely going to put those shocks on a little sooner than I was actually anticipating. That's okay. That's just things to discover now and not discover later. Otherwise, the rest of the frame is actually, and the chassis is really cleaned up quite well. Now, the next thing that we're going to start doing is we're pulling out that gas tank, and very excited for how we plan on repairing and sealing that gas tank, hopefully forever. And we will let you know exactly what we're going to do when the time comes. All right, so you can see that I have the fuel bowl, and I kind of placed it on a white box just so that you could get an idea of the contaminants that are still inside the fuel bowl. Now, if you look all the way down in there, you can see it right there. There's an earth magnet. And on that earth magnet is some metal. But honestly, there's a lot of rust that magnet just did not attract. And that's a pretty strong earth magnet. So here's my thought process. If you want to throw a magnet in there, I guess you could. If you want to throw a big, huge magnet underneath your gas tank, well, I guess you could. You want to put an earth magnet inside the fuel bowl? Well, I guess you could. But I really don't think it's going to attract an awful lot of rust. And after looking at this, I have to kind of roll back some thoughts that I had earlier that this would actually work. So yes, William Forbes, if you're watching this video, you were absolutely right. Rust isn't really heavily magnetized. I would say that it can be, but as a whole, rust really isn't as magnetized as my research originally led me to believe. So just wanted to let you know that, hey, you were right, buddy. And I'm glad that we are fixing the gas tank the right way. All right, friends, so I drained the gas tank. This is the last little bit that is in the gas tank. Now, you might think that those are coffee grounds, but I can assure you that it's actually the little bit of sediment that has still gotten past the pencil filter, as well as the filter that I have in the fuel bowl. And the gas tank, I'm pretty sure, is completely empty at this juncture. I'd probably wiggle the tank and get a little bit of fuel. We're going to go ahead and start taking it out. So I actually treated my gas tank when I first bought the car with evaporust. And I drained the gas tank down and filled it up completely with evaporust. I actually let it sit in there for 72 hours. Drained it, filtered it, and re-put in evaporust again. And let it sit in there for another 72 hours. Drained it, put in gas, flushed it, and a year later was developing some serious rust issues. And long story short is, guys, if you're going to fix your gas tank, just fix it right. Just do it right. We're really excited about what we're going to do with our gas tank, and very excited to share that with you right here in the very near future. Now, it's a bit of a mess, and I realize that. I just wanted to hurry up and get this done while it was still fairly comfortable to be working temperature-wise, because it's definitely been cold here. But let me point out a few things now that we got everything kind of out. First, you'll see that line that goes all the way across and all the way around the gas tank. It was just loaded with silicone. And while it's supposed to have, the welt that you see right there, again, it was just gobs of silicone. It took forever to get this thing loose and out of the cowl. That's the good thing. Here's the not so good thing, is we got the cowl off. And it is infested with problems. So if we look down here at the bottom, you can see, especially if I move the cowl, you can see that the metal is just completely separated, and definitely pretty bad. There's some major repair that's got to take place there. If we come around on the back side of the cowl, you can see where this is all rotted out. I've gotten some of the hangers, the door hinges, I should say. I've got some of the door hinges out, but I've had to heat it and beat it and not gotten every one out. And we're going to try acetylene next. I tried MAP gas and just couldn't get them all out. When we come to the other side, you can see obviously there's daylight in there. And tons of Bondo in this thing. We're going to peel out all of the insulation. We're going to get down to the bare metal. We're going to remove all of the Bondo, and then we're going to weld in some new sheet metal, because that's really the only way that you're going to be able to fix this. Fix it right. This is one of the reasons why I didn't want to spend a lot of time and energy doing the whole car. And I think you can see why. If you can see just the cowl and how bad this is. Honestly, I just did not want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, as well as years, to get this thing back on the road. My goal is to fix this, fix it right, and then get her back on the road so that we can start making driving videos again and get this thing up to Old Car Festival. And that's my goal. As far as the gas tank, I am so excited to share with you what we plan on doing. So, not going to say an awful lot right now, but the gas tank presented a wonderful surprise. And that is, we've actually got our first sponsor that is going to supply us with everything that we need to fix our gas tank. And I'm very excited. We're going to do a whole video on that. Really excited to share that with you. So now we got everything off except for our front fenders and the splash aprons and the running boards. We're going to go ahead and take those off and get a full assessment of the frame. Just make sure everything else is okay. I don't see any issues now that we've got the cowl off. That's actually a good thing. And I'm very excited about what we have in store for the gas tank in a future video. So hey, remember to give us a like and subscribe. Most of all, be blessed. Have a wonderful day.